Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. It's news that's nightly about the Redskins. Welcome to the Redskins Nightly News. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So I wanted to switch it up a little bit tonight. Slow news day for the Washington Redskins. Not much was going on. We did hear from interim head coach Bill Callahan and defensive coordinator Greg Minuski today, and we'll get to that in other news a little bit later on. We also will recap or talk about and preview the Lions game upcoming this Sunday. But before we do any of that, I wanted to ask you guys a question. And I wanted to limit this just to the defensive side of the football currently. And my question is, who are the untouchables on the defensive side of the football for you right now as this roster is constructed? Okay? If someone came to you and said, look, you have your choice to make certain players untouchable. The guys that you do not deem untouchable can be subjected to being plucked by other teams off of your roster. So you have to keep these guys or else they could be gone. All right? And you would get all the cap space back and all the savings that you would get back for the guys that would not be here if you do not keep them and someone else takes them away. So you would earn a cap savings for whatever they were slated to make for the upcoming season and beyond. All right, so who are your defensive Redskins untouchables? The players that moving forward, they have to be on the roster. Either you know what they are as a football player and feel like they are an asset, or you're not quite sure. You're intrigued enough that you don't want to see that player flourish elsewhere, and so you would like to see them remain here in the event that we get a defensive guy that knows what the hell he's doing and is able to take the pieces that we currently have and turn them into some formidable players. Maybe even as a collective unit. Who knows? But I'm going to give you my list of untouchables. Now, this list is 7 players long. I'm looking at it. It's 7 players long. It's really 6. One of these guys I honestly don't want to put on this list, but the intrigue is killing me. I've never seen him in a Redskins uniform, so I'm not attached. So I'm almost like he could really carry his ass, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I'm like, but he could actually be pretty damn good. We're going to see. So if I leave anybody out or my list is way different than yours, that's why we're here. Leave it in the comment section, okay? This is going to serve as our Redskins Nightly News social media maneuver for today. So I'm looking forward to reading your comments and talking about some of your responses on the air on either Monday or Tuesday. So looking forward to doing that. But here's my list of 7 guys. All right, now your list could be 11 guys. Your list could be 3 guys. Your list could be 1 guy. Your list could be, 13 guys on the defensive side of the football. For me, it's 7. All right, so here it is. Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, Montez Sweat, Quentin Dunbar, Tim Settle, Landon Collins, Reuben Foster. Reuben Foster has an asterisk next to his name because, honestly, I did not want to put his ass on my list. Okay? I wanted to leave him off of my list, but because I know of what he could potentially be when healthy, which he hasn't really been healthy throughout his entire NFL career, and he hasn't been able to stay out of trouble off the field, I'm almost tempted to just say, you know what? I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. Just take him. Take him away. However, the intrigue is killing me at one of our most vulnerable positions on our roster. So I'm like, can you really afford to allow someone to snatch up possibly your best linebacker? Now, we don't know what he looks like in a Redskins uniform, all right? And I don't want to feed the narrative. We do this too often as Redskins fans because we're used to not having anything, okay? We're used to not having nice things. So when we get something that we think is nice, even if we haven't seen it, we get really excited. And then we build and we grow the legend. And all of a sudden, this is a Hall of Fame player that if he just comes back, he's going to make this defense all world. Let's pump the brakes, okay? Let's pump the brakes. However, I would like to see Reuben Foster in a Redskins uniform, so he is on my list of untouchables on the defensive side of football. So quickly recapping, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Tim Settle along the defensive line. As an edge rusher, I just got Montez Sweat. That is it. Quentin Dunbar and Landon Collins in the secondary, and my lone linebacker on the list is Reuben Foster. Those are my 7 untouchables. No one else is safe. Have Adam and take them if you want them. They're all yours. What does your list of defensive untouchables for the Washington Redskins look like moving forward? I've given you mine. Now, what are yours? So we get to in other news, and Bill Callahan stepped to the podium today. So did defensive coordinator Greg Manusky. I actually was intrigued by what Manusky had to say today. Manusky started off by talking about the secondary switch out last week, and we talked about this briefly because it really didn't appeal to me. I really didn't care because at the time that they were put in, the Jets were pounding us. So at that point, the Jets could care less about throwing the football. So subbing in 3, corners into the secondary at a point where the Jets could care less about actually throwing the football really doesn't make me one bit of difference. Those guys were in for 9 snaps. I don't even know if they even saw a pass come their way. I think the Jets at that point were looking to run the football. They were up 34-3 for God's sake. By the time they got in, it might have been 34-10 or 34-17. Game was over anyway. So that's nor here nor there, but he was asked about would that potentially happen again? And he was like, no, it was just a situation late in the game, getting your ass whooped. He didn't say that, but that's essentially what he alluded to. Getting your ass whooped late in the game. Let's just see what the young guys have. And you really don't get to see what the young guys have because they're not getting tested. They're not getting the ball thrown in their direction. The only thing you're going to get to see is a little bit of effort, and maybe they can come and help in run support. But you're not really going to see how these guys do in some one-on-one situations or in zone coverage. Do they zone match, pattern match, all of those good things. You're not going to see all of that from 9 snaps in a blowout loss in garbage time. So he was asked about that. He was also asked about how different Greg Williams' defense looked in comparison to his, and how they were using Jamal Adams, and how they had all these complex looks and all these different blitzes, and how they were able to confuse Dwayne. Do you take things from guys like Greg Williams, and do you take things from other coordinators when you see them mixing up things? And you could tell Greg kind of got a little bit in his feelings a bit. Now, he didn't get all pissy about it, but you could tell he was like, well, I blitzed Landon, and we did some nice things with Landon, and they kind of max protect, and he made excuses, but bro, your defense looks nothing like that. Okay, the whole time he was talking, I was like, bro, your defense looks nothing like that. Stop, okay, stop right now, okay? Don't even do this. Let's not go down this road. All right, your defense looks absolute. That's why they're asking this question the way that they're asking it, and I love Craig Hoffman because he's not with the shits, man. I mean, he's literally getting at these dudes, and he's making sure that they know that we're not happy as fans. And so I was like, Greg, stop. Bro, your defense looks nothing like that. They're not aggressive. They're not coming after people. That's not what you do. So miss me with the, well, we're doing some nice things. I said, okay, stop. But then he talked about some of the breakdowns in the game versus the Jets. Guys were running wide ass open, especially the tight ends. And he was like, look, we got to communicate better. But Greg has been saying that all season long. And every time they ask him about one of these defensive breakdowns or somebody running wide ass open, communication is the first thing that comes out of his mouth. And I'm like, at this point, bro, I mean, we're in week number 11 going into week 12, and you still talking about lack of communication. Well, what are we doing here, man? This is why he has to go, because there's no accountability. The same dudes are making the same mistakes, and they're allowed to continue to make the same mistakes. At some point, you got to say, all right, man, get out. Get out. You can't communicate with the guy next to you to figure out what the hell is going on so that we don't have these defensive breakdowns. Get out. I'm going to get another guy in here that can understand English and communicate with the guy next to him. It's not rocket science. These guys make these situations so much harder than they need to be. And if you as a coach don't feel like these guys are getting the message, then you send the message a different way. And sometimes that message needs to be sent via you sitting your ass on the bench. Come stand next to me and watch how it's done. or come stand next to me until you figure this shit out and can communicate. Both of y'all bring y'all ass over here. I got to put 2 other guys in there. Like, there has to be a level of accountability. Thing I love about Greg Williams in New York with the Jets, he much rather lose with less talented guys than win with guys that don't do it the right way and keep putting them out on the field. Because eventually, with the guys that aren't doing it the right way, you're going to lose football games with them. So I'd much rather go down swinging with guys that I know are going to do it the way that I taught them to do it. Because eventually, if they're talented enough, again, I'm not going to put guys that can't get it done. But eventually, if they're talented enough and they're doing it the right way, you're going to reap benefits from that. Versus guys that are uber talented but not doing things the way that they're supposed to be done, you're going to have defensive breakdowns. That's why Josh Norman is always being nosy. And he thinks he's going to make a play. And you better be right. We talk about that all the time with Marcus Peters in Baltimore. He loves to guess. He's so talented. He loves to guess in key quarterbacks' eyes and be nosy. But you better be right, goddammit. Because if you're not, you're going to give up a big goddamn play. And that's what was happening to him in Los Angeles with the Rams. And that's why they shipped his ass out of there. Because, yep, you're uber talented. And, yep, you can make a bunch of plays, but you guess wrong a lot. And when you guess wrong in this league, in zone coverage or in man-to-man, and you're being nosy and you think you got a chance to pick something off and the quarterback dupes you, or you about to give up something big. It's about to be 65 behind you. It's about to be 88 and out the gate for a touchdown. Like, you got to be aware and you got to do your job and you got to be fundamentally sound and you got to communicate. And our players just don't communicate. And he said, look, we got to communicate. And they asked him, well, what can you do at this point of the season? You've been talking about communication all year. And he's just like, we just got to keep preaching, communicate. Like, okay, that's not good enough. You get to you get to Bill Callahan and, you know, he talked about, and they asked Greg Minuski about Monte Nicholson as well. And he pretty much said, hey, look, that's above my pay grade. Don't know anything about it. As far as I know, he's playing. I'm coaching him as such. And that's it. You know, I don't really have anything else to say about that. So you get to Bill Callahan. He talked about the injuries. So Jonathan Allen and Chris Thompson both participated in practice today, both on a limited basis, but still good sign that both of them participated. Daron Payne did not, however, participate in practice today. However, no walking boot. So feeling pretty positive and when asked and pressed about the availability of Daron Payne this weekend, he said, look, I'm not worried about Daron. I feel really confident that he'll be ready to go, you know, come game day. So I feel pretty good about Daron playing on Sunday. So we'll see what happens. But he was also asked about Adrian Peterson, and he did not practice today. But he said Adrian's going to be ready to go. You know, we're kind of just holding him back, making sure that he's okay. Again, he's 34 years old, doesn't really need practice. We know what he's all about. But they also asked him about Darius Geis's role on third downs, because remember, we thought that he was going to get a little bit more of that third down work. You know, he was going to be able to handle some of the pass pro, and I think they just want to work him in slowly. And remember, I said I'm all for it. Like, do not overload this guy's plate. Do not give this guy a full workload, and then he re-aggravates whatever injury he's coming off of or hurts something else. Work him back in slowly, and that's what they did last game, and I think they're going to continue with that theme in this game. But you may see Darius Geis in some third down situations. Now, if Chris Thompson plays, that may change a little bit. I'm assuming that he doesn't play. If Chris Thompson plays, I think you'll see less of Geis in that third down role, more of him maybe in a first, second down type of situation. And you may see him in a few third down situations scattered here and there, but for the most part, I think he'll be strictly and primarily on first and second downs. But he did speak to Geis's availability throughout the course of the game and what ways will he be deployed. Also, Bill Callahan talked about the offense. You know, a question was posed to him that, what do you expect from Dwayne, being that the Lions play primarily man-to-man coverage? Remember, Matt Patricia is a disciple of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick plays a ton of man-to-man. That's why he's always looking for a star corner. I've always said that Belichick plays, teams play the best when they have a shutdown corner. Ty Law, Asante Samuel, and now, um, uh, Jesus, my man from Buffalo that went to South Carolina, Stephon Gilmore. So that's always been a priority of Bill Belichick. He always makes sure he has one guy that he feels like can lock down the side of the field. And then, they can play coverage off of that. Like one side we're playing a man and the other side we're playing zone. And that can confuse a quarterback as well. But they play heavy man in Detroit because, again, that's a staple of Bill Belichick. And so he said, well, what do you expect? They asked, what do you expect from Dwayne? And he knows he's going to get a lot of man coverage. And what are you expecting? And so, Bill went into this long, drawn out answer that pretty much said, look, guys have to win. Guys have to separate. He took him about 7 minutes to pretty much say, guys have to win. Guys have to separate. And Dwayne has to be accurate, with the football. There are going to be some tight window throws, but if it's one-on-one, give guys a chance to go up and make plays. If guys get open, he's got to see them open or even throw them open. You can't wait till guys get wide open and uncover. You may have to throw them open. Nonetheless, he talked about a number of different things that Dwayne can do to try and help move this offense along. And so I'm looking forward to the game, obviously, because Dwayne is playing. I'm not looking forward to a Redskin victory, as a matter of fact. Let's get to what will it take for the Redskins to get the win on Sunday. Look, the Lions aren't a good football team. They sit here at 3-6-1 on the season. Jeff Driscoll is at quarterback. No Matthew Stafford. So right there, you feel like you got a shot. We don't know what Jeff Driscoll is going to show up. I can tell you this much. I watched Jeff Driscoll last year in Cincinnati. I actually liked what I saw from him in the final 4 or 5 games of the season. I've watched Jeff Driscoll this season in his 2 starts against Chicago and now Dallas. I think he's gotten better and better each week. The first week versus Chicago, he was solid. He wasn't good, and he wasn't good enough to help them win. Against Dallas, if that same effort was put forth versus the Bears the week prior, they would have won that game. So he was much better versus Dallas in week number 11. And so I think he's playing with a lot of confidence now, is Jeff Driscoll. That offense is starting to move along, and I think they're going to carve us up, to be honest with you. Offensively, I don't think this team is mentally checked in where they need to be, dialed in to be able to stop a Jeff Driscoll-led offensive attack by the Detroit Lions. God forbid Matthew Stafford was on the field. This could have really gotten ugly. So we're actually pretty lucky that we're getting the Lions at the time of the season that we are, because had Matthew Stafford been playing, this could have been a 40-burger very, very easily. But that being said, Jeff Driscoll is probably still capable of putting 30 on our head this week and not thinking twice about it. So from that standpoint, I don't think the Redskins are going to do enough to win the football game. When you look at the offensive side, I do think the Redskins can move the football and score on the Detroit Lions, and I fully expect 2 touchdowns in this game. And I also think that the Redskins are going to be in 2 more positions to score, but have to settle for field goals. And so I see the Redskins scoring up over 20 this week, or at 20 this week, but not many more than that. Will this game be competitive? Will those points be scored in garbage time? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I can tell you this much. Last week, we won the turnover battle. Right? We forced 2 turnovers, and we only gave it away once. And the crazy part was we forced 2 turnovers in the first half on back-to-back possessions and got 3 whole points out of it and was losing 20-3 at halftime. We were winning the turnover battle 2-0 at halftime, and we were down by 17. Do you know how bad you have to be? And these weren't, and it'd be one thing if these 2 turnovers were forced deep in our own territory. So they were driving and we were able to get an interception down at the 7-yard line. And now we got 93 yards of real estate in front of us to go drive and try to get a touchdown. Or, we forced a fumble, them going into the end zone, and it went out of the back of the end zone and it's a touchback. And now we got to start from our own 20. It'd be different if those 2 turnovers were forced in that manner or something similar to that, where there's still a full length field in front of us. These were turnovers where the Redskins were starting inside the Jets' 30-yard line. Both of them. One started at the 16. The other started, I want to say, at either the 26 or the 19, something like that. And we came away with 3 whole points. 3. So the whole cliche win the turnover battle, that shit doesn't help us anymore. We're not good enough to just win the turnover battle. Like, we have got to absolutely kill it in the turnover battle. Like, we got to force 4 turnovers and only give away 1 or none. Like, it's got to be so egregious. And one of those turnovers has to be a touchdown. Like, we can't leave it up to the offense to score. So I don't, this whole cliche, hey, win the turnover battle, like, that doesn't apply to us anymore. We're 1-9 and we stink. That doesn't apply to us. We simply have to do more, all right? And I don't think we are capable right now, the way the team is constructed, of driving on a 12-play drive and scoring a touchdown and capping it off with a touchdown. I just don't think we're capable of doing that right now. And to me, that's the next maturation of Dwayne Haskins. Can you put together a 12-play, 81-yard drive, an 11-play, 75-yard drive, and cap it off with a touchdown? Whether it's a rushing touchdown for one of the running backs or a passing touchdown for Dwayne, I could care less. Can you orchestrate that kind of a drive? Can you convert on third downs? Can you keep the ball away from the opposition and make sure it ends in 7 and not 3? That's what I want to see. Because right now with Dwayne in the game, I have zero confidence of our ability to matriculate the football down the field and cap it off with the touchdown. I do have confidence that a big play can happen. You know, and I do think that with Dwayne in the game, there's the possibility of a 65-yard touchdown strike. But I think, and this is crazy, because these are less likely in this league than a long drive, but I think it's more likely right now that the Redskins score on a quick strike, 3-play, 77-yard drive that ends in a 67-yard touchdown strike than a 12-play, 77-yard drive that ends in a 2-yard touchdown run or 3-yard touchdown pass. That's where we are right now. We don't have the ability to not have a penalty, to not have a batted ball or a negative play that impacts the play. We just can't stay out of our own way. And I think that's something else we would have to do in order to have a chance to win is you got to eliminate the negative plays, especially the self-inflicted wounds, the fumble, exchange between, Steven Sims and Dwayne Haskins on a jet sweep. Like, that can't happen. Chase Rouillet, you can't have bad snaps that end up on the ground or Dwayne's got to bend down for it and it throws off the timing of the play. These are things. You can't have drop passes. Can't have a holding penalty after an 8-yard run. You can't have a false start on 3rd and 4 to make it 3rd and 9. Like, these are the things we routinely do week in and week out that kill us, that we can't afford to do if we want to have an opportunity to win. I said all of that to say this. We're not a good football team. The Lions are better than us. And for all of the things that we could do well in this game, we're probably going to do even more bad. And so, for me, that's what this game looks like. 33-20 loss for the Redskins. I think that this game is relatively close. Not like, oh, wow, we're down 1 score. I think this is like 20-10 at halftime. All right. And then we come within 7 in the 3rd quarter with a field goal to make it 20-13. And then the Lions score 13 straight unanswered points, make it 33-13 before the Redskins score a garbage time touchdown late in the game to make it 33-20. But at some point, we're going to be down by 3 scores, by 3 touchdowns, essentially 33-13. And then the Redskins will score a garbage time touchdown to cut the deficit to 13. And that's where it will stay, as they will lose this game 33-20 and fall to 1-10 on the season. So that is going to do it for your man, Louie T, here on the Redskins Nightly News. Looking forward to hearing from you guys in the comment section. Who are your defensive untouchables for the Washington Redskins as the roster is currently constructed moving forward? I've given you mine. I had 7. What are yours? Did I leave somebody off? I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a bunch of Kerrigans. That's fine. All right. It's your list. So have at it. All right. But he's not on my list. Okay? I didn't forget Ryan Kerrigan. He's just not on my list. All right? I would have traded his ass. You know how I feel. Ryan Kerrigan would have been an Indianapolis Colt or a Baltimore Raven right now. All right? And I would have that team's second or third round pick right now. But we didn't do that. So, anyway, hey, we got skin in the game. Why? Because we're Skins fans. For life. You know where you can find me? At the conclusion of the Redskins game on Sunday. I'm thinking that this is going to be the most sparse crowd we've ever seen for a Redskins game, not with inclement weather. Okay? I remember the Chiefs game back in 2000 and I want to say 8, I think it was. I don't know if I've ever seen a crowd that bad before. What was it? 2009, I think it might have been. Don't think I've ever seen a crowd that bad. It might have been 2013. It was Shanahan. It was 2013. I don't think I've ever seen a crowd that bad before. This could rival that. But that had a reason. It was snowing and it was inclement weather. It was cold and we were bad. This one is just going to be that we're bad. No snow. It's not going to be overly cold. It's just two bad teams that nobody wants to see. This could get ugly. But I'm here for it, though, man. I'm here for all of it. Pass me the popcorn. I'm ready. I'll see you guys after the game. This has been the Redskins Nightly News. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content, and also share this video and turn on your notification if you haven't already done so you don't miss a single video here on the Louie T Network. I'll see you guys for the R3 after the Redskins Sunday tilt with the Detroit Lions. See you then. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Louie T Network.